You know that moment? Your cat has ignored you all day. No eye contact, no acknowledgement. You've existed only as furniture in its environment. And then, without warning, it curls up beside you. The room feels quieter. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts loosen their grip. For the first time since you woke up, your body actually rests. If you know exactly what that feels like, this video isn't just going to resonate with you. It's going to explain you. Let me ask you something. When your cat knocks your coffee off the counter, locks eyes with you, and shows absolutely no remorse, do you get angry, or do you pause and admire the audacity? If you chose the second option, congratulations. You're not just a cat person. You have a very specific kind of nervous system, and almost no one talks about it. This was never about personality. People love to frame pet preferences as personality traits. Cat people are cold, dog people are warm. Introverts versus extroverts. But that explanation barely scratches the surface. What actually differs isn't personality. It's how your nervous system regulates itself in the world. Some nervous systems stabilize through activity and stimulation. They need engagement, feedback, movement, clear signals. Dogs are perfect for this. They initiate contact. They mirror emotion. They keep energy circulating. But other nervous systems regulate in the opposite direction. They settle through stillness, through predictability, through the absence of emotional demand. Cats don't rush toward you to discharge energy. They occupy space calmly and allow you to settle alongside them. There's no obligation to respond, no pressure to perform, no requirement to manage another being's emotional state. For people whose nervous systems spend the entire day anticipating, scanning, and self-monitoring, this isn't a preference, it's relief. When someone says, "I don't like dogs, they're too much," they're not being judgmental. They're describing overstimulation. When they say, "I like cats, they're peaceful," they're describing regulation. Cat people aren't choosing distance. They're choosing environments where their bodies can finally downshift. Why cat affection feels different? Here's something most people miss. The bond cat people feel with cats isn't just calming. It feels safe in a way many human relationships don't. Human relationships, no matter how loving, are filled with invisible demands. Respond quickly. Match emotional intensity. Explain yourself. Reassure. Be expressive. Be available. Even affection often comes with pressure. Why aren't you more enthusiastic? Why don't you need me the way I need you? For people who are sensitive, observant, or easily overstimulated, this constant emotional negotiation is exhausting. Cats don't operate like that. A cat never assumes access to you. Affection is offered, not imposed. When a cat chooses to sit beside you, there's no expectation of conversation, eye contact, or emotional performance. And when it leaves, it doesn't require justification. This creates something rare: connection without intrusion. Studies on cat-human relationships consistently show that cat lovers aren't avoidant of intimacy. They're avoidant of pressure. They want closeness that unfolds naturally without urgency or demand. Cats model exactly that. Attunement over control with cats. Affection isn't automatic. It's earned. You learn to read subtle signals: a flick of the tail, a shift in posture, a change in breathing. Over time, this builds a relationship rooted in attunement, not control. Consent is central to this dynamic. And for people who have experienced boundary violations, emotional, psychological, or physical, this matters more than they often realize. Before thoughts, before interpretation, before emotions even have names, there's regulation, and cats are remarkably good at it. The science of the purr. A cat's purr operates at low, rhythmic frequencies. Your nervous system responds to these frequencies instinctively. Before you consciously feel comfort, your body begins to shift. Breathing deepens. Muscle tension softens. Stress responses quiet down. Low, repetitive sounds signal safety to the brain. They say, nothing urgent is required. No action is needed. You can rest now. For people who spend their lives managing emotional environments, this kind of regulation is rare. Silence can feel empty. Noise can feel overwhelming. But a purr sits perfectly in between. It fills the space without invading it. That's why many cat people struggle to explain the comfort. They don't feel excited. They feel settled, as if their internal pace has finally matched the world around them. This is co-regulation without conversation. Comfort without performance. And once your body learns that a certain presence brings it back into balance, attachment follows naturally. About that intelligence claim, you've probably heard it. Cat people are smarter. Research does show correlations between cat ownership and higher scores in cognitive ability and openness to experience. But it's not because cats make you smarter. It's because certain traits cluster together. People who lean introverted often spend more time in solitary, intellectually engaging activities, writing, thinking, creating. They also score higher in neuroticism, which means yes, many cat people are highly thoughtful, deeply analytical, and slightly anxious humans, walking encyclopedias with emotional complexity, and somehow okay with that. Here's the real reason cats and thinkers pair so well. Deep thinking requires uninterrupted mental space. Cats don't fragment attention. They coexist alongside focus. They don't pull energy outward. They protect the conditions intelligence needs to function. That's why writers, artists, and philosophers have gravitated toward cats for centuries. Not because cats create intelligence, but because they preserve it. Quiet isn't loneliness. Modern culture treats solitude as something to fix. Quiet is framed as absence, stillness as stagnation. But for cat people, quiet is where clarity forms. There's also a biological reason cats trigger such strong protective instincts. Their facial features align with what ethologists call baby schema: large eyes, rounded faces, soft movements. Your brain responds with caretaking impulses before conscious thought kicks in. Even though cats are efficient predators, your nervous system reads them as something to protect. For many people, this dynamic feels safe because care flows outward without emotional demand. The cat doesn't require you to be cheerful. It doesn't monitor your mood. It doesn't ask for reassurance. For those who learned emotional containment early in life, nurturing without intrusion can feel far easier than receiving care themselves. What this was really about, this was never about cats. It was about the kind of nervous system you have and the kind of world it feels safest in. If you're drawn to cats, it doesn't mean you're distant. It means you're wired for subtlety, for presence without pressure, for connection without constant output. Cats don't ask you to perform. They don't confuse intensity with intimacy. They simply exist with you. And for some people, that quiet companionship is exactly what allows them to feel human again. We love creatures that don't need us. Kesta, and in a culture obsessed with being needed, that choice is quietly revolutionary. So the next time your cat ignores you for 6 hours and then demands immediate attention, remember, you didn't just choose a cat. Your nervous system chose what it needed. And it chose well.